Good morning, and thank you, Alan, and thank you for the opportunity to present to you all today. So I'm going to start today by explaining a little bit more about agentic AI in the enterprise. I'm going to start by first explaining what an AI agent is, then show you some of the product and the use case work we've done over the last few years in agentic AI, and then I'm going to show you some software. And then after that, I'm going to invite some of our customers on stage with me. We have two customers on a panel with me, and that's going to be followed by a keynote presentation by another of our customers, so you'll get to hear from them directly. Okay, so let's jump right in. So first, we've all been talking about agentic AI, and there's been a lot of great conversations that I've had the privilege of being part of the last few days. But what really is an AI agent? What does it mean? The term gets thrown around a lot, and right behind me on a screen is a picture of a call center agent, and often the direct assumption is that an AI agent is just a robotic form of this individual. But nothing could be further from the truth today, at least not until we have AGI. This is really not a fair comparison because the breadth of experience and expertise that a human brings is far different from what AI agents are capable of today. The real concept of an AI agent is much more concrete and narrowly defined. So let's go into that a little bit more. So everyone knows the LLMs. So when the LLMs exploded on the scene, humans could interact with them with natural language. You could ask a question. The LLMs would give you a response. Or they could take an action. And these were pretty powerful tools because they're very general purpose. They're flexible tools. They're capable of a lot of different things. But the problem with them is hallucination, is errors. Now there's two additional innovations that make agents possible. The first one is this concept that you're seeing on the slide behind me, is this concept of a self-critic. So when an LLM response has a critic with it, it has a feedback loop. And that feedback loop helps the LLM improve its response. So this inclusion of feedback loops with this self-critic concept was actually incredibly powerful. It helps the LLM fine-tune its response. The second critical innovation with the foundation models and AI agents is this concept of memory. And so with the memory, these systems, these agentic systems can remember what happened in the past, and they can remember what worked, what didn't work, and then they can adapt based on that. So these two concepts, one is critic, where it can evaluate its actions, and it can understand and act on that feedback, and the second is memory. These two things really get us to where we are today with the cognitive AI agents. And these are super valuable for the enterprise. So keep in mind, though, that the other concept that I mentioned about AI agents is that while they are incredibly powerful, they're still fairly narrowly defined. So they can do one or two tasks very well, but you actually need different agents to do different tasks. So when you think about how an enterprise can take advantage of an AI agent, you actually need multiple agents to do any specific business process or business task. And so that brings up this concept of AI orchestration. And so that's what you're seeing here. This is one example anonymized from one of our customers where I'm reasoning about, hey, I saw initial signs of corrosion on this asset. What do I do? Well, the actions here are actually fairly complicated. I might first, so the question first hits the planning and orchestration agent. That planning and orchestration agent says, okay, well, where do I send this question? I might need to invoke an information retrieval agent to go and get some data back. It could be a structured source. It could be an unstructured source. Or it may say, hey, look, I got some data back. I might now need to run a smaller AI/ML model. So it then goes to an ML insight agent that can run a corrosion model, get the answer back from that, and then say, I need to visualize it for a human. So this back and forth, this agentic orchestration that we've all been talking about, this is central to unlocking business value from agents today. This is really at the heart of what we have done at C3 AI in terms of our innovations. This advanced agentic orchestration capability, we had the privilege, and you heard from Tom yesterday, we've been doing this for 15 years. So given our experience and our history in AI, we had the privilege of seeing this coming early on, once the LLMs really exploded on the scene. And so we filed a patent on this agentic orchestration. We built a lot of technology here, a lot of capability here that's uniquely differentiated. And this patent we filed it in 2023, and before anyone was talking about AI agents. And this was actually granted in 2024. So in October 2024, we have this patent, and the same diagram that I just showed you is in our patent filing. The other core innovation that we've talked a lot about is the C3 Agentic AI platform. And the other really neat thing that we did was we built this entire agent orchestration framework on top of the platform. And so the idea is this. So once you use the platform, and Adrian showed you this in his keynote, and then we've seen this in many of the breakouts over the course of this conference, once the data are unified in the C3 AI platform, and we're really good at data integration, data unification, those data are available in a common semantic language and a unified semantic language, those data objects. And it turns out that AI agents are really good at parsing and reading our semantic language. And this gives us a lot of expressive power because we no longer have to have bespoke integrations to individual sources. So if you just use open source, for example, agentic orchestration, AI agents from the open source or from the cloud providers, you're going to have bindings to individual data sources and probably even individual tables. You'll have hundreds of plugins to just SAP alone, or scores of plugins to NetSuite or Workday that take specific actions. What's my PTO balance? I'll need a plugin for that. Or how do I set up a printer? I'm going to need a plugin for that. Or how do I configure my email? I need a plugin for that. So individual actions require kind of hard-coded plugins in agentic AI today. But what we offer as C3 is a unique product, because once you bring in the data to the C3 Agentic AI platform, it's all available to the AI agents. And I no longer have to hand curate, hand craft, hand tune individual questions. And I'll show you this. So this is one of the big advantages. Everything goes through our domain-specific language, unified object models, and then you can ask any question, get an answer back. So this is a double click on that Agentic AI platform. And you can see we've actually built all of the services necessary and sufficient to extend and modify and build your own Agentic AI apps or use what we have. Everything from data parsers, a lot of work for the parsing and ingestion that's super valuable. I'll show you this more later. So really getting complex modalities of data and insights out from documents and unstructured sources, to embedding models, to vector stores, to the actual LLMs themselves, corroboration modules, post-generation source attribution modules, distillation modules. All of these are part of the work we've done. And so there's a very rich developer toolkit if you want to extend and modify these applications. And many of you have working with us. So here's a simplified view. Humans ask a question against our system, or we're running pre-configured workflows. Those questions first hit a planning agent. The planning agent then orchestrates one or more C3 AI agents, or agents that you bind to our platform. Those go to vector stores or to data sources, all unified on the C3 AI platform. And this is what gives us deterministic responses, full traceability to ground truth, enterprise access controls at the most granular level. We don't introduce any net new cybersecurity vectors. We don't, because everything runs through the C3 AI platform, we're also protected against LLM-caused data leakage, because LLMs only have the privileges of the user using the system. It's hallucination, free basically. It's no hallucination, no IP liability exposure, and then also LLM agnostic. So these are some of the cool benefits we bring to the table. So with that, let's switch gears. I want to talk about some of the exciting product updates and then show you some software. So we launched this product, our Agentic AI capabilities, 2 years ago at this event back in 2023 now, yes. So it's been 2 years. And since then, we've done 80 plus generative AI projects, Agentic AI projects. And here are a set of our customers, a subset of them. You can see there's marquee logos. Many of you have worked with us, and we've had the privilege of working with you along this journey. So I wanted to give you a flavor of some of the projects, and I don't have time to cover all, but just a few. So here's three that are on the screen. First, Norfolk Iron and Metal. We've enabled an agentic AI product for sales. So for their salespeople to be able to interactively ask questions about what they can sell, what products are available, what inventory levels are available, where are they available, and really get up-to-date information that helps them close their deals. Second, Smith RX. So this is C3 Generative AI, Agentic AI for their contact center. It's a full Agentic AI contact center where when a customer calls in or when a member calls in to their contact center, they have advanced reasoning capabilities. And both Ben and Jake are going to be on stage with me right after this, and we're going to cover these two use cases in more detail. The third one that you see on the screen here is an application. It's called Guru, and it's in the national security space. It's agentic AI for all source intelligence, reasoning, and analysis. And Master Sergeant Haskell is going to be on stage after us, after our panel, and he's going to give a keynote on that topic. Just to highlight three more. So Boston Scientific, we're doing a lot of work with the clinical data there, actually helping them map their hazards, organize their hazards, use agentic AI for risk analysis. Flint Hills Resources, you had the chance to hear from them yesterday. Again, we're doing a lot of very interesting work there in asset inspections and in enabling and structuring all of their unstructured data using agentic AI, and a strong roadmap for where we want to go. And then Cargill is generative AI for manufacturing. So at Cargill, it's all about interrogating the data across all of their plants, KPIs, safety, production rates, throughput. You can really have a kind of a management view of any plant, or look across all of the plants and see are things trending in the right direction. So a very cool application. And these are just some examples. There are actually a wide range of applications. The use cases are so diverse. So everything from professional services. This is use cases like authoring of S1s, supporting due diligence tasks, manufacturing use cases. This is yield, quality, throughput, defense and intelligence, all sorts of intelligence analysis, maintenance analysis, energy and utilities, life sciences, healthcare, and other. So a lot of really cool use cases. These use cases are also organizing into a few big application archetypes. So we're seeing a lot of traction in generative AI for manufacturing and supply chain. We're seeing a lot of traction in generative AI for customer service. These are use cases like the call center, service ticketing, generative AI for financial services, Gen AI for marketing is an opportunity for us to get hyper-personalized surround sound marketing content generated and then sent out so that individuals get tailored messages. And this is a product we're gearing up to launch. It's not yet available today. We have a big effort in government programs, so public benefits. I think people who need to understand what government programs are, what benefits are available to them, and these benefit programs are very hard to understand often. And these applications can truly add value to citizens and the government. So I want to highlight a couple of product features, and then I'll jump into a demo. So number one, the biggest thing that we have in our most recent release, which is 6.0 of this agentic AI capability, is a dynamic agent framework and architecture. And what this is this ability for a planning agent to dynamically reason against a human's questions and interactions, retrieve different data sets, package them in different ways, and then also dynamically visualize and run math operations, et cetera. So it's way cool. So we're super excited. It's in our most recent pre-release, and we're gearing up to release it this summer. Second, this concept of omnimodal parsing at scale. So we've invested a lot, and in this video behind me, you're seeing on the left-hand side, these are examples of images, tables, et cetera, and documents. And you can see the bounding boxes. As we load these into our platform, we're reading all of these artifacts. and being able to extract key content. Now, you can also do this in our system with vision language models, but the parsers are super helpful because they allow you to track things very granularly. I know exactly what data came from what table, what data came from what figure, and there's so much engineering that goes into these. And then also the ability to tune these things for high accuracy. We can't live with the 30, 40, 50% accuracy that you will get with the agentic systems, out of the box from any of the service providers, from any of the cloud providers. For some of these use cases, you often need 80, 90+% accuracy, which takes a lot of tuning, but you need a lot of knobs to tune the system. And so we have built literally hundreds of configurations that are all tunable to get to these high performance, high quality, reliable applications. So a couple of more. So attribution and corroboration is another big one. So if you ask a question and you have conflicting data, we are able to surface that across sources with clear traceability to those contradictory items. And then the last one I want to cover is full audit trails. So we have we embrace all of the explainable AI principles. We capture and log pretty much everything in the system. There's a full engine log. Every question, every tool chain, we can go back to it. And this is helpful for auditing, but it's also really helpful for system tuning and system maintenance. Okay, so to summarize, we built a comprehensive agentic AI feature list with a lot of core features that I've covered: deterministic responses, traceability to ground truth, solving this hallucination problem, but then a lot of more advanced capabilities like full data management, structured, unstructured, configurable, multimodal parsing, all of the role-based and attribute-based access controls, all of the application capabilities we've invested in, all of the developer and data science tools we've invested in. So it is really a comprehensive product and a comprehensive stack today. Please take advantage of it. So to summarize, we've invested literally years of engineering effort to get us to where we are and made these SDKs available to our developer community. So with that, I want to now share a software demo. So let's jump right in. So this is a demo of our latest 6.0 product. Some of you might have seen it in the breakouts. I want to give you a little bit of a feel for this. So along the left-hand side, so you can see the user interface is very straightforward, very simple. You can ask a question, get an answer back. Along the left-hand side, you see the ability here to manage your data, to manage your agents. We have visual tools for these things. We have visual tools for introspecting the engine log. And then we also have all of the configurations that you can visually manage in this version of the application. So really simplifying and streamlining the administration. But the use case here is I'm an operator of a fleet of wind turbines. These turbines are located around the world. So I have structured data about the turbines. I have unstructured data about the turbines. So I'm going to just use my latest planning agent here, the dynamic planning orchestration agent, to interact with the system. And you can see I can actually interact with it in very interesting ways. The system will self-discover its data sets and its capabilities. So I'm going to ask it a question. So I'm going to say, hey, what do you know? Is my first question. And you can see it gets an answer back. I'm the C3 AI planning agent, the interface between you and your organization's enterprise data and application. I can access structured data related to wind turbines, unstructured data, et cetera. Well, let's double click on that. I'm going to ask it about what data does it actually have access to. So let's go there. I'm going to ask another question here. What data do you have access to? It should go ahead and discover the object models that it's connected to. So it has access to, it answers structured data here, location of wind turbines, wind turbine manufacturer, SAP work orders, spare parts. It has access to unstructured data. It also has access to a web search agent, which in this case is a Bing agent. And I can retrieve data from those agents as needed. So I'm going to now ask it to visualize the data model for me. So, this is cool. This is not pre-configured. None of this is hard-coded. It's actually reasoning about my question on the fly. It's going to discover the data, and not only bring back the data model here, but it's actually going to graph it for me. So I have the ERD diagram, and I can scroll through this, and I can see there's a wind turbine type, there's a location object, there's a manufacturer object, and I can see the relationships of these entities, which is way cool. And this data model is visually depicted. Now I'm going to jump a little bit more into a more complex question. So I can ask something, much more open-ended. For example, what should I focus on today? So here I want the system to reason about my context, reason about the data, reason about what it knows about itself, and build a plan. So here it builds a plan. So to determine what you should focus on today, I will retrieve the turbines ordered by risk score, display them in a bar chart, color-coded from high to low, list the alerts for the 5 turbines with the highest risk score. So it goes ahead and does that. So it pulled already the wind turbines, and as it keeps computing, it's now going to show me the chart. And again, it's doing the chart generation on the fly. And I can see here the highest risk turbine, turbine 26, with a risk score of 0.94. And now it's going to then pull the corresponding alerts. So it's just computing through this plan that it generated. And I can see there's multiple alerts on these high priority turbines. And there is alert 9 on wind turbine 26. So I see that alert. I can actually see that it has a generator overheating message. So it says you should focus on addressing these alerts. Well, this simplified potentially hours of my time with one question that I've asked here. So I'm now going to ask it to say, hey, what do I do about alert 9? So I'm going to ask it, push it a little bit more. Can you really think and reason about what you should do about alert 9? So in order to do this, it says it's going to analyze all of the relevant documentation. And it knows the context of the alert, it knows the documentation, and it builds here a 4-step plan. I'm going to check the generator bearings, I'm going to inspect the generator alignment, I'm going to check lubrication, I'm going to visually inspect the electrical components. Well, that's pretty cool. So now it's actually really reasoned as an expert and summarized the steps that it thinks I need to look at from multiple sources. And then now I can say, okay, well, I agree with that. Let's create a work order for this. So can you create a work order for this for me? So it knows all the context, and it can package it up, and it can actually submit a payload to create a work order. And this could be a work order in SAP. This could be a work order in ServiceNow. Or it could be a work order in our C3 AI object model. So it says, do you want me to proceed? It has the details of the work order. And it says you can also provide additional optional details like start date, end date. So in this case, it's already done some investigation, so I'm going to just ask it to add the investigation notes in there, and then also add some start times and end times. So I'm going to say, hey, can you also add what you found to the description of the work order? And then I'm going to say this job needs to start tomorrow. It needs to finish Friday. It needs to take about 8 hours. And now you can see it's computing. There it's finished, and now it's creating the work order with the following details. Do you want me to proceed? Yes. So let me ask it to do it. And then it's actually going to write to the database, create the artifact here. So there I see the work order artifact. I can scroll over to the right-hand side. You can see it's got the date created, the equipment, the wind turbine. Everything is correct. And then it asks me, do you really want to submit it? So I can go ahead and say yes. Now I'm going to switch gears. So you can also do engineering analysis. So here I'm asking you to visualize the correlation between active power and wind speed. So this is pulling a couple of time series data and then building a chart. So I can see the correlation plot between active power and wind speed. Active power is on the y-axis, wind speed is on the x-axis, and I can see the scatter plot. Well, this is pretty nice, but I might want to, as an engineer, do some more analysis. So this is all based on the math agent. And if you recall Jim's comment from yesterday, agents and LLMs are generally bad at math. So this is not actually using language to do math. This is actually writing code to do math. So anything in NumPy, SciPy, scikit-learn, pandas is available in our system out of the box. And so this math agent capabilities, I think it really feels like I have a statistician, a data scientist attached with me that I can do any kind of generic task. Now I can ask it to do something like fit the best fit curve. So if I want to do that, I can say what is the best fit polynomial, and it'll go ahead and generate that for me. And not only will it compute the best fit polynomial, but it actually graphs it for me on the same chart. So I can see that, and it gives me the coefficients of that polynomial. So I can do things like correlation coefficients, Pearson, rank correlation, t-tests, Fisher tests, you name it, all are possible. So with that, I wanted to highlight where this is going. So the first big thing we're working on now, with many of your feedback, are agentic workflows. So this is the ability to describe tasks, multi-step tasks, and teams of experts can describe these tasks and then distribute it out to the employee base. So then you have more rigorously approved steps that can be followed at scale to unlock value in the enterprise. And these can be versioned, these can be managed, these can be executed at the system level or executed by individuals. And this will enable a wide range of complex tasks to be orchestrated by the same application. So e.g. troubleshooting something, rebalancing inventory, switching suppliers. So we think this is a very powerful concept, and we're working with some of you as kind of charter customers to test out this feature. So the second big thing, and we announced this and launched a blog on this yesterday, is a foundational time series embedding model. Now this model is way cool because traditionally the things that we were doing with time series required tuning small ML models. I need to tune a small machine learning model for classification or for anomaly detection. And one of the core innovations we see is these next generation foundational models are actually capable of reading time series similar to how we would read text and embedding them in vector spaces. And then once you've embedded them, you can have task heads that are actually retrieving them, and you're able to do multiple tasks with the same model, like anomaly detection or classification or forecasting. You can do that all with the same model, just a tuned version of the same model. And we've had great results. We've benchmarked ourselves. The left-hand chart is a benchmark for forecasting. So lower is better, blue is our model, white are state-of-the-art benchmarks. You can see in some cases we're 100% better than state-of-the-art benchmarks. And in the right chart is anomaly detection. Blue is our model again, white is the state-of-the-art, and we're exceeding the state-of-the-art in this case. These models we think are going to be revolutionary. It's going to change the game for how small ML models are used, and I think over time replace a lot of them. So with that, let's talk about our product evolution. So we started in 2023. We launched with enterprise search. We then worked on structured query generation, multimodal parsing. And now I'm talking today about very sophisticated dynamic agent orchestration. In the future, I mentioned the two main features we're working on, workflows and time series modeling. But later this year, we're also working on dynamic dashboarding, dynamic reporting, better accuracy evaluation tooling, so more visual tooling that actually helps you manage and maintain accuracy of these systems. And then lastly, a big focus on automatic personalization. So these systems need to learn how humans interact with them and then adapt to individual humans. So with that, that concludes my talk, and I'd like to welcome, thank you all.